What's up guys, Mr. SLIN here with another video about Team Fortress 2, and today I'm giving you some tips and tricks for how you can get better at Medic. If you missed my first video, I talked about how to set up your game, class, loadout, mouse sensitivity, that kind of thing, and I'll put a link to that video in the description below. But today's video is going to be very focused on the gameplay, the fundamentals, the key things that you can do that will make you a better medic immediately. I guarantee you, if you implement some of these things, you will see yourself getting a lot of results. You'll be better than 95% of the medics out there if you can just pull off these things. But they're not, I would caution you by saying they're easy to like focus on and start practicing, but they're difficult to master. And I think medic is that kind of class in general where it starts out really easy, but then as you play more and more, you realize there's a lot of depth in the class. I'm going to talk for about, I think, 10 minutes or so. And if you like this kind of video in the future, then you can, don't forget to like and subscribe. Because I'm not going to go through every single tip possible, but I'm going to go through as many as I possibly can in about 10 minutes. So, pretty much the only reason why you exist on the team is because you need to be healing all the freaking time. If you're not healing all the time, you're doing it wrong. Like, if I see any of you guys out there who are playing Battle Medic, like got your Bloodsucker out, or you're just shooting crossbows the entire time, I'm gonna warn you right now, you're doing it totally wrong. Like, there are so many other classes that you can play that will do way more DPS than a medic. And so if you're just gonna be doing damage the whole time, just don't even bother playing medic, just swap to something else. But if you actually wanna like play medic properly, you need to be healing the entire time. That is the entire reason why you exist on your team. There's not that many health packs on the map. I'm playing on Koth King, and there's a couple of health packs. They're kind of scattered off to the sides. You can see there's one right here. It's a small one. There's a bigger health pack off here to the side. But generally speaking, there's just not a lot of health packs. And so the value you're going to bring to the team as a medic is that you're going to be able to deliver healing to the front lines and prevent your team from having to back off and give up map positioning and give up a lot of control. If you can just deliver heals to the front lines where your team is taking the most damage. And so there's a couple key pieces of doing this. If you're trying to maximize your healing per second, your HPS, what are the things that you can do that will definitely increase that? First of all, always stick next to your teammates. Your teammates are everything for you. They're gonna protect you, they're gonna do the damage, they're gonna be the ones that control the map. You don't really do anything as a medic. Like, you can see my heavy just died. I need to just run away. There's literally nothing I can do, right? I'm just going to walk around the map with my minigun out most of the time. Maybe shoot some crossbows from across the map like that. But generally speaking, when my teammates die, I'm out of there. There's nothing that I can do. I'm nothing without my teammates. So it's all about... Oh, that was a lucky kill. So one of the things that you're noticing is that I'm pulling out my crossbow. And I just talked about how pulling out your crossbow is really bad. But are you noticing? I'm not sure if you're noticing, but in key situations, I'm pulling out my crossbow as a quick burst heal. The crossbow will automatically reload itself while you have it away, so I don't need to reload it. I just need to pull it out every once in a while, shoot it, and then back off. Now, the reason I'm backing off so much is that my teammates are all dead, and every time your teammates die, you need to think about backing up. And notice how much emphasis and like how much mental effort I'm putting into just staying alive. Staying alive is so important. Like, I can't emphasize how important it is to not die in this game. It's like incredibly important. Like, staying alive is going to allow you to put out more healing per second. By not dying, you're going to be building more Ubers. Oh my god, no one's shooting the sentry gun. Please shoot the sentry gun. Oh shoot. Dude, what the hell? So, like, by staying alive, I'm going to get way more Ubers than the enemy medic will. I'm going to be putting out way more healing. I'm going to be buffing way more of my teammates. And so all I'm trying to do is just stay alive. I'm backing away in bad situations where I have no teammates, and I'm constantly staying with my teammates and using them as a source of protection. Now, granted, my teammates are not always going to cover my back, and that's going to be the case for you too. When you're playing medic, your teammates do not always have your back. Ideally, they're protecting you, they're shooting the mini sentry, but sometimes you just got to take you know, matters into your own hands. Now, in that scenario, I ended up meleeing that mini sentry myself, but I don't really recommend doing that most of the time. Like, if you have an enemy up in your face and your teammates are not dealing with it, you're better off backing off, and that's when you want to be using the crossbow. So the crossbow, I would say, I would describe it as like a burst healing tool, but I would also describe it as a range extender. Your metagun has a limited range that it can heal, right? It's generally like pretty short to mid range. And as soon as your teammates leave that short to mid range, you know, you're going to have nothing to heal with, right? If I want to heal that soldier over there, I got to use my crossbow. And you're noticing that I'm not following that soldier because I know that he's not going to protect me. And that is the difference between a low level medic and a high level medic, is knowing when your teammates are going to protect you and when they're not. Like, I'm surrounded right now by 3 or 4 teammates, so I know that they've got my back. But they're not always going to protect me. Like, look at all those scouts up there that are just running around in circles like chickens with their heads cut off. They're completely useless. They're not going to protect me at all. Now, I have an Uber, and I want to take that Uber in, and I want to fight them. But, like, I'm not trusting of them, right? I don't trust my teammates. And similar to how your teammates don't really trust you as a medic, and they shouldn't, right? Your teammates should not trust you. I mean, they want to, but they don't really trust you. It's like everyone's playing their own game. Like, that's how I would describe it. Everyone is playing their own game and living in their own world. And I don't trust my teammates to protect me as much as they don't protect me to keep them alive. Everyone is kind of on their own, and it's kind of bad when you think about it that way. Like, you know, in an ideal world, we're all teammates and we're all healing each other and helping each other and protecting each other, but that is just not the reality. My teammates are gonna run off and kill people, and I need to run off and stay alive. And that's just kind of, we just do our own thing. Now, we didn't win that round, but that's okay. You know, I think we generally played a pretty solid round. Like, I have the most points on my team. I got 0 deaths. I had pretty solid healing per second. I think one of the things I was doing is I was talking and I forgot to use my Uber. So that's one thing that I could have done better in that round. But generally speaking, like, staying alive is so important, especially on a team where I'm the only medic, right? And I was talking in my last video about how the ideal scenario is that you have 1 medic per 6 to 8 people. But in this game, since I don't have another medic, it's even more important that I stay alive. So that's the first part. The second part, I would say, is you need to be always scanning and keeping your head on a swivel. Keeping your head on a swivel means looking around and having really good awareness. Noticing where the enemies are. See how, like, I turned around right at that moment when that spy was coming in? And I'm also looking across the map and I see snipers over there, so I'm trying to use sight lines and you know, put barriers between me and the snipers so that I don't get headshot. Like, having that awareness and keeping your head on a swivel and looking around for threats is going to help you stay alive much, much longer. And so when you're first starting to play a medic and you're just getting into it, you're going to be looking a lot at the person that you're healing. And that's just like level 1. Level 1 is look at the person who you're healing and make sure you're standing in the right spot in relation to where they are. That way you don't drop the meta beams. That way you keep healing them constantly because you want to be having a high healing per second. But that should be pretty obvious to you that you want to be healing a lot, right? I'm not really emphasizing healing a lot. Like, I'm emphasizing high healing per second, but you notice how I'm letting the meta, like the beam, I'm letting it drop every once in a while if it's going to prevent me from dying. So it's fine to let the beam drop. You want to be healing a lot, but it's more important as level 2, right? So, oh, damn, I died. Level 1 is looking at your teammates, making sure you're paying attention, making sure you're healing them. Level 2 is like looking past your teammates at the enemies and looking at what the enemies are doing so that you don't die. And unfortunately, in that situation, I didn't look around and I died to a spy. But that's what you want to be doing. You want to be looking around as much as you can so that you can prevent those kinds of things from happening. Oh, shoot. Oh, no. Did not have a teammate right there with me. That's unfortunate. That's an unfortunate scenario where, like, a scout, like, walked through the tunnel underneath the map and then came behind and shot at me. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, like, where do I go in those situations? You know, and that's going to happen to you sometimes where, like, a teammate isn't really there to cover for you. Like, that flank was wide open. This tunnel flank was wide open, and the scout walked through it. But I could have had slightly better positioning. Like, there's something within my control. I could stand a little bit forward and then look behind me for those kinds of things. Like, see how this guy's shooting this guy in the back. Oh, God, stay alive. Oh, God. This happens sometimes. So I'm using that crossbow as a range extender. You can see how like I'm not really able to walk forward there because there's just so many threats. There's so many threats that I'm not able to walk forward. Then I just pull my crossbow out and back off. And that demo man has two choices at that point in time. He can either chase me, which is gonna be kind of slow for him, right? Like he walks slower than I do, and like he only has four pipes in his load, so you know he's not really gonna want to chase me. And that's where I'm able to back off. And that's kind of the only defense that I have as a medic. Like, sure, I can use my crossbow or my uber saw, but that's not really good defense. Pretty much the only defense that I have as a medic is that I can either stand next to my teammates and have my teammates defend me, or I can run away. That's pretty much all I can do. And a lot of times I'm just gonna have to run away because I just don't have teammates that are gonna protect me. But if you're overcommitted, and the definition of committed, I'll get into in a second. But if you're overcommitted, oh no, 99%, nice, got it. Then you have no opportunity to run away. And that's what happened with me and that scout behind me, is that I was overcommitted. He's surrounded me. I have nowhere to go. So the definition of committed is that you've crossed an imaginary line that there's no going back. That's the definition of committed. You've crossed an imaginary line in which there's no going back. And that when you're playing medic, you only want to commit, like actually when you're playing any class in TF2, you only want to commit when you know you're going to win for sure. I'm going to say the whole thing again because it's a very important concept. Being committed means you've crossed an imaginary line where there's no going back. You cannot turn around. And you only want to get yourself into that kind of scenario when you know for a fact that you're going to win. If there's any chance, you know, that if there's any chance that you lose by committing, that means you're taking a risk. Now it's fine to take a risk. We call those low percentage plays, right? High percentage plays are ones where you commit, but you have a high percentage chance of winning. Low percentage plays are where you commit and it's like a gamble. You know, it's like a toss-up. You're not sure who's gonna win it. It's like, oh, we're gonna commit, but I don't know who's gonna win. It's like whoever hits the better shot is gonna win. And you kind of want to avoid those scenarios, right? It's like a poker player or like a Hearthstone player. You know, like any kind of card player. It's like you don't know for sure if you're gonna win, but you want to put yourself in situations where you're gonna win most of the time. And that's what it's all about here. It's not that like I'm a really, really good medic and I'm never gonna die ever. It's just that like by generally practicing these fundamentals and playing generally pretty well, I'm gonna increase the likelihood that I win. And part of doing that is not committing to scenarios where there's a chance you're gonna die. You want to be very controlled, very consistent, and as a medic, like, these are all within your control. I mean, a lot of times you have really bad teammates who don't protect you, who are not going to cover your flank, who are not going to shoot the mini sentry or the scout behind you or whatever it is. But generally speaking, I'm putting myself in scenarios where like I have a high percentage chance of surviving, right? Like right here in this hallway, there's a lot of damage coming in. There's a spy on me too. But I'm going to back off to a place where I'm able to control my own destiny, where like if someone ends up shooting at me or if my teammates get overwhelmed, I have a chance of living. I have a pretty high chance of living through this, you know. That scenario right there is one where I just juked the shit out of that scout. I just juked the crap out of him, but then I still had to keep backing off anyways, you know. My team is winning this round, thankfully this time. I need to get an Uber so we can close this out. That's a spy. Ah! Alright, I'm pretty low right now. When you're low health on medic, this is a tip that most of you should know. But if a teammate is hurt, you actually self-heal faster. So the medic has a self-healing, and if you heal people who are hurt, that self-healing rate will increase. Something to keep in mind. So like if you're very hurt as a medic, you can heal people who are damaged, and that will allow you to like recover faster. But a lot of times I'll just back off, or I'll try and grab a health pack, or you know, maybe if I'm lucky, my teammate has a sandwich. So I've talked a lot in this video about staying alive, about the importance of healing per second. One of the biggest contributing factors to staying alive is going to be your distancing. It's going to be your positioning. I talked about how your only mechanism for self-defense is being able to run away. And part of that is not standing too close to the action. So I'm very familiar with how long my meta beam is. Like, I'm very familiar with where I can heal somebody and where I cannot. Oh, that scout being pesky. I'm very familiar with like how long my meta beam is, and that's something you need to do too. Your meta gun beam is longer than you think it is. A lot of medics will stand too close because they're afraid of dropping the beam. I want to get you out of that mindset. I want to get you out of that habit of standing too close and just start getting comfortable with dropping the beam every once in a while. If it's gonna prevent you from taking damage, it's okay to drop the beam. Like, think about it. Let's say you eat a rocket and the rocket does 80 damage to you. That is a lot of self-healing that you have to like sit around and wait for. Oops, I dropped that guy. That's a lot of self-healing that you have to sit around and wait for. When you'd be a lot better off if you could just like not take that damage in the first place. It's okay to drop the beam and then not heal for a little bit if it's going to prevent you from taking damage. Also, one thing that this medic is doing that is really, really good right now that I really appreciate is that he's healing me and then I'm healing him back. A buffed medic is so much better. Like, having extra health will allow you to make some extra mistakes, and that buff that he's giving me is so nice. Like when that scout creeps up behind me, or like if there's a sniper and I'm at 225 health, like it's so hard for me to die when I'm at 225 health. It's really, really hard for me to die. I think you can take like four shots basically without dying. That's like so many shots. Whereas like normally at 150 I can only take 2 shots, so it's just two or three shots. So that's just really, really nice to have that buff. So yeah, positioning is really, really important where you're not standing too close. So when I'm standing too close, or when I'm going to risk standing too close, that crossbow comes out. It's like when I'm risking standing too close, that crossbow comes out. So generally speaking, you want to be standing away from damage. But part of the balancing act of medic is that you need to be at the front lines. The very first thing I said in this video is that you want to be standing. You are the source of health for your team, right? There's no health packs on the map. You need to be playing in a place where you're able to deal health where there are no health packs, and that basically means healing the front lines. I need to Uber this guy because he's gonna die to a spy otherwise. You need to be healing the front lines. Like, see how I'm putting myself out here near damage? It's like, if I don't want to take damage, why am I standing so close to the front lines? It's because you have to. You have to stand where your teammates need help. And so that is the balancing act. That is the line that you walk as a medic. Is you need to be standing close enough to be healing the front lines because that is where the people need health. But far enough away so you're not taking damage, that you're sustaining damage that you cannot like overcome. I guess like you don't want to be standing so close that you're just taking all this damage and you're in a bad position. That's the way I think about it. Oh, get up. Nice. I want to save my medic here. I might have to. Yeah. Notice how I'm flashing all these people? Oh, I really effed that up as soon as I started saying that. I started you want to be flashing as people as possible right there because it'll prevent them from taking damage, but I just didn't flash fast enough. Kind of backing off here because I can't afford to go around the front and all my teammates are dead. Yeah, trying to get my medic out, but he's kind of stuck in, so I'm just gonna bail. Alright, so I've talked a lot about... Oh, that's me. That's a spy. I've talked a lot about positioning. I've talked about like how you want to be healing all the time. Let's talk a little bit about heal order. Heal order is not the most essential thing. Healing the front line is more important. At a low level, people will be talking about healing order because it's a nice way to structure it in your brain. was like, oh yeah, you should heal heavies first, and then you should heal scouts second, and soldiers third, and then spies last. And that's a really junior way of thinking about playing medic. When I play medic, I am heal target agnostic. It doesn't matter to me if you're a spy in the front lines. If you're a spy in the front lines, you're in the front lines. I'm gonna heal you. It's like my heal order is based on whoever's in front, because it's a different way of thinking about the game. But I want to get you into this way of thinking. The person who's closest to the enemy is the one who's gonna get shot. And I'll say it in a different way. The closer you stand to the enemy, the more likely it is that you get shot. And so, if I just heal the person who's furthest in front, that is the meat shield. That is the tank for my team. The person who's in front is the most likely person to take damage. And so I will consistently focus my heals on the person who's in front. That's the person who needs the health the most, is how I describe that. Oh god, I'm backing off. I'm running. My team is just struggling to break through this section. Me and this medic are staying alive, but no one else is. We can do this, we can do this. We can do this, we can do this. We can do this, we can do this. It's totally winnable. 30 seconds on the clock. Oh, get in there. Oh. I was saying we can do this, but in hindsight, I realized that Pyro cannot hear me. Alright. Well, that's the end of that round. I'll end the video on this note. You want to be healing the front lines as much as you possibly can. But at the same time, you want to like turn around and crit heal people who are behind you. And that's part of keeping your head on a swivel, is like heal the front lines as much as you possibly can. If I were to summarize this video, what I would say is you stand really close to the front lines because people at the front lines need health. But you don't want to die. You don't want to take damage because damage is probably going to cause you to die. So it's like stand as close as possible to the front lines, but don't die. And that will allow you to get Ubers, which will prevent you from dying. And then keep your head on a swivel and then look behind you and try and crit heal people as they walk into battle. And that will give them the buff right before they walk into the fight. That will help them stay alive too. So I hope this video helps you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I also stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/MrSlin. I hope to see you guys over there on my stream, and I'll see you on a future video. Thanks for watching.